reason deductively, and I want you all to say it with me. We can reason and we can reason deductively. You know, one of the reasons that we do not continue to think and try to look for new and better ways to do what we want to do, to be what we want to be, and to get to where we want to go? Because we don't do it long enough. I said something this morning that if you put a little bit in, you get a... But if you put a whole lot in, you get a... Now this is important on what I'm going to do here. Very important. When we start to use the idea that I'm just going to share with you here and just get through this workbook, I want you to think about this. There is a season to sow. There is a season to reap. But we don't do both in the same season. Now, at the count of three, I'm going to ask you all to do it with me, that there's a season to sow, there's a season to reap, but you don't do both in the same season. Are you ready? Now, I want you all to do it with me. Come on. 1, 2, 3. There's a season to sow, there's a season to reap, but you don't do both in the same season.
Sowing and reaping. There's something in the seminar that is very, very dear to me, and I know in every seminar that I make a strong point, and I emphasize this point. Of course, I emphasize it because of what it's meant to me. But I always mention that there's a season to sow, there's a season to reap, but we don't do both in the same season. When I say that to people, you know, they seem to walk away at least with an intellectual understanding that, yeah, that's true. But somehow I don't feel that they actually take and they do it long enough. They don't sow long enough. The farmer understands it. They go out and they sow the seeds. After a period of time, they know that that's the one season. And then in the next season, they go out and they reap it. And then, of course, by putting both of those together and doing them to the best of their ability, in other words, do the best you can to sow it, nourish it, preserve it, take care of it, look after it, you know that in the next season you're going to get a great crop. For me, the sowing was the 5 years that I spent at the seminars. There was no money. I had to pay my own way. And I understood that, of course. So I spent 5 years sowing it. And believe me, there was many, many times that I was checking to see whether or not there was anything growing. And you have a tendency to lose faith a lot. But I know now that when I speak to an individual about that, I can say it with conviction, I can say it with commitment. Because you see, I spent the season sowing. I, of course, have, as far as the season of reaping, it's been more reaping than there has been sowing. It just seems that it comes back tenfold. I remember an expression I've heard time and time again, where the laborers are very few, but the harvest is great. And I believe, again, that's a result of a person's ignorance, that they believe because they do something today, they should benefit tomorrow. We don't know when the season of reaping is, but we do know when the season of sowing is. And that's every living, breathing moment that we have an opportunity to provide a service or put the best into what we're doing. We know then that the result is guaranteed. That's what the law of compensation is based on. You take care of the sowing, something far greater. The universe will respond in like kind in perhaps another season. I don't know when that season might be, but I do know that it must respond in like kind, and you will reap what you sow. So that's been very important to me.